What is just a placebo effect, but most people don't realize. I worked at a kid's birthday party place for a couple years in high school, so many kids would cry because they fell over, bumped their arm, etc. Never anything bad. I would say something like, "Can you shake your foot around? Does it feel better? How about jumping in a circle? Alright, we are going to blow on your hand so it feels better," and then ask if they are ready to play again. Works like a charm. Also bandages for little boo-boos. They think they are healed and get right back to being happy little kiddos. Any band-aids with cartoon characters on them instantly made my students feel better. When I worked trained tech support, our agents would always get pushback from customers when we asked them to power cycle their phone, which 9 times out of 10 would fix their issue. So, I had them tell the customer to read them some numbers off the back of the battery when they were still removable, that we absolutely did not need. Then we told them we refreshed a few systems, and they put their battery back in and it's all fixed. Alternatively, when batteries could not be removed, we would tell them that if the phone was powered on while we did the update, it could ruin their SIM card. So they would make sure to power off their phone. I would do nothing. They would turn it back on and it worked great. But if I had told them to power cycle their phones, no way. I absolutely love this story because it's so true. Just 2 days ago I told a client to close his web browser and reopen it to fix an issue on our page. He would complain of it seemingly slow today despite videos from several team members demonstrating it was not. He closed and reopened and voila, it was fixed. Actually, he would had the browser open for months, and it was gobbling memory and needed a restart. When you give your young sibling an unconnected controller after she kept bugging to join the game. Do commissioned creative stuff. If I deliver same or next day, people don't think I spent enough time on it. If I wait 3 days to driver, people are happy because they assume I worked on their project non-stop even though I was done a day or two prior. I am freelance artist and once I painted my client's dog portrait with acrylic. I took photos and sent it to her and she said she wanted to fix some part of it. Like hair was too dark and mouth was a little bit too big. Few hours later I accidentally sent one of the photo I sent to her again. She immediately replied, "Yes, this is what I want. I haven't touched up anything more but it's okay." Loading spinners on web pages. I once had a user complain to me a web app was too slow and it was pretty fast. So I tested him by making the animation spinner spin much faster. He went to my boss to praise me how much faster the web app was. Spin.gs is what I was using. My dog's medicine coming out of his treat tin instead of medicine packaging makes a seconds ago disgusting medicine taste mysteriously treat-like. I have made my pup's medicine a real high-value treat by making her do tricks before I give it to her. Lol. As a former lifeguard, I can assure you that whatever cleanup you see lifeguards doing after someone vomits in the pool is almost certainly just show. There isn't really anything you can do, you just let the filter, chlorine take care of it and pretend to clean to please the suburban moms. I remember some kid shit in the pool and they closed it down for the remainder of the day. Is it different for shit, or same story? Just come back tomorrow, and it will be clean and do nothing. I sold Christmas trees as a kid in junior and senior high school. Learned a trick for super fussy customers, who had me hold up multiple trees to show them. After the 10th or so tree I would yell to my coworker, "Hey Mike, if they don't want this one put it aside for me." Nicest tree I have seen this year, worked like a charm. When I see salesmen doing this, I always feel they are taking me for a fool. It seems like the oldest trick in the book. I wonder why people are still falling for this. The original Febreze wasn't scented, but nobody believed it worked so they added scent to it. You are telling me Febreze isn't just the smell? I thought the odor trapping was the BS part. A lot of these psychology tricks and tips you will see online. Just in general, a lot of them have no scientific proof, but they work because everyone thinks they do. This is how I actually live my life. I just tell myself things like these and placebo myself into changing my mindset or mood. Yeah, well, she'll try it works. How long it takes a Coinstar to process and count coins and return a receipt. It finishes quickly, so quickly that folks are skeptical of the accuracy. So a fake delay, with fake counting noises, was built in giving folks more confidence in the results. I swear my car performs better immediately after it's cleaned. This one is true though. If Gran Turismo taught me anything, it's that washing your car can add 5-10 HP. That free shipping is a better deal. It generally means they have added the cost into the product instead, but you feel like you have gotten a better deal. This is 100% true. I used to sell furniture at a no gimmicks kind of place, where they were open about all cost, including delivery. I would do the math for people, show them how we were still saving them tons of money even with delivery, but some people would still walk out and go pay literally hundreds of dollars more for free delivery from Ashley's. Beats headphones have weights inside them to make them heavier and give the illusion of quality and sturdiness. So, if the headphones are too heavy, I should disassemble them and remove the weights. Arguably yes, if they would be more comfortable lighter, you could. When cake mixes first came out, you only had to add water to them, but to many housewives felt like that was cheating and would not buy cake mixes. So the cake mix companies added another step, the eggs. It worked. Apparently the cracking and adding of the eggs to the batter was enough to make it feel more homemade, and cake mixes became extremely popular. Now I am mad. I have probably 3 cake mixes in my pantry right now that I keep using up all my eggs before getting to make. If it was not for those housewives, I would have had cake by now. Unbelievable. I am not sure if it still does this, but at one time Google Docs intercepted the Ctrl+S shortcut and briefly changes the cursor to the thinking cursor, hourglass, beach ball, whatever your computer does. You don't need to save your Google Docs. They save every tiny change on the server, but people are used to doing it. That's like autosave in games, though very often I will manually save, too, just to be sure. In any sort of RPG I always keep 3 saves, in case anything corrupts or is broken. I saw an article about how Apple Music made random selection less random, because people would often complain the same artist would follow after a song. So they made an algorithm to not select a song made by the same artist until after some songs. Controlled randomness, if you will. The exaggerated sounds of some vacuum cleaners, microwaves, and cars to make them sound powerful. The loading screens on some apps that make it seem like they are doing something complex. I once spoke to a guy involved in developing the first ATM cash machines. Early trials showed that users thought that the dispensing of cash happened too fast and didn't trust that it had correctly debited their account for the right amount. So they inserted a wait cycle to make it appear that the machine was counting the cash. That wait cycle is still there today in most machines. Bubbles in cleaning products. Early formulations of soap way back when used to naturally form suds. Newer formulations can clean better but don't naturally produce suds, as the bubbling was an incidental side effect that does not actually have any bearing on cleaning. When these newer soaps were first introduced, people complained they didn't work because they didn't make loads of bubbles. So the manufacturers started adding a chemical solely to generate bubbles that didn't actually help with the cleaning at all, and all the complaints stopped. To this day the association of bubbles equals clean is strong enough that they still do it. Basically all cleaning products, including toothpaste, foam up when used, and almost without exception the foam is 100% marketing. Airport security. Homeland Security's own inspectors were able to get illegal items through TS at checkpoints 70% of the time. I interned in the White House after 11 of September. Security would literally let paper lunch bags on the property without checking them. Granted, these guys worked there, but once past security, the president, past presidents, anyone at high level would be walking around without Secret Service around them. Walked up from the bathroom one day and Clinton and Herbert Warner were standing there, alone, talking to like a longtime groundskeeper. That minty fresh, zesty clean feeling you get from toothpaste. It started as a marketing strategy and caught on, and now almost all toothpaste is mint, because we associate the minty freshness with cleanliness. Actually, it was to help mask the taste of the stannous fluoride. I install commercial audio, video systems on bigger, more involved jobs like stadiums and arenas. We have AV consultants who don't work for my company but are a big link in the chain. As far as designing and eking the finished system, I don't know how many times I have been up in a 80 boom lift, and they want the azimuth or down angle of a speaker adjusted by some ridiculously small amount. So you get back, up there, bang a couple wrenches on the speaker, and don't actually move shit. How is that? Oh yeah, that sounds better. Works every goddamn time. There is actually a story like that when Michelangelo was carving the statue of David. Whoever he was making the statue for stopped by and said the nose was too big, but it only appeared that way because he was looking at it from directly beneath. So Michelangelo went up and pretended to carve it down, and dropped some previously carved shavings to save arguing. When I was a waitress 100 years ago, my customers asked me all the time to turn the heat up, down because they were too hot, cold. I would be like, oh yeah, definitely, let me go take care of that for you. Then I would go stand in the back, drink some water, and then head back to the table and tell them I would adjusted the temperature. It worked every single time. Added, guys, I obviously didn't waitress 100 years ago. I was exaggerating because I am old, Jesus. ML Ms. People feel successful when in fact they are losing money. I have a friend who is working for one of her friends part-time as an assistant. I had no idea what she needed an assistant for, so one day I asked her. She names an MLM and says, "We know it's a scam, but we are working the system to get startup money for her own business." Which sounds like a fucking line to add my friend to their downline. Fancy bottled water. I bought Fiji water BC. I thought it would be different. I paid like $5 for it, and it stayed the same as the water from my house. Drinking Canada Dry ginger ale helps with an upset tummy. They were sued because their ginger ale has no ginger in it, and that was the only stuff that helped. When I had the stomach flu as a kid, I got the stomach flu a lot too. The idea that drinking orange juice shortly before going to bed will keep you from sleeping because of the vitamin C. The same people who swear that it works like coffee on them eat raw tomatoes for dinner all summer long and never complain about sleeping issues, even though tomatoes contain more vitamin C than a glass of orange juice. Wine prices. They have done studies that show people think wine tastes better if it costs more, but when they do a blind taste test, very few people, even people who are wine drinkers, not everyone. There are some people who can tell, but it's a pretty small percentage. Can't distinguish between pretty cheap $15-20 for bottle and expensive wine. Branded painkillers. Cheap stuff is normally exactly the same and does just the job. Car door sounds. I am not entirely sure whether it's fully a placebo effect, but believe it or not, they are designed to make a noise to reassure you that it's closed, seeing as they could quite easily be silent, if made differently. Political parties actually working for the people. Thanks for watching. Write your opinion or stories in the comments. Support the channel with likes and subscription, it helps a lot.